Take us away.
Take me away. Take me away. Just kidding. It's Christmas. Bring me back. Noelle.
Noelle.
Not the last Noelle. Or the first. Maybe
which Noelle is this?
It's the Noelle with an L-E. And not the one with Paul Walker. That's what we learned this today.
We did. So thankfully I watched the right one.
Thankfully indeed. We would have had very different experiences. Because that movie looked a lot different than what this film was.
It did. And actually it had Ryan Reynolds in the picture.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Almost the same person as Paul Walker.
Almost.
That's pretty nice.
So you've heard.
So I've heard.
Well, this is your deal, man.
This is Christmas.
You wanted to do corniness in 3 different ways.
We did.
And
however,
I'm on board with it. I like the idea.
I will say I've done messed up because this is not what you would classify as a Hallmark film.
Right.
This was produced by people that were not Hallmark or the Hallmark Channel or Hulu. So this was Disney. This is, was it 2019?
Yes, 2019.
And I remember watching this and thinking it was a very different take on Santa Claus, which, again, Christmas films are hard because they're typically all the same for the most part. You involve Santa Claus. Santa Claus gets put in a position where he dies from tripping on a roof, or someone has to replace him, or you got Red One, he gets kidnapped. But this was slightly different, and in the sense of the...
I did like that about it. Yeah.
It's a lineage of the Clauses, and so it doesn't... It makes sense to the world of, like, Santa Claus wasn't a person that came out of nowhere and lived to be 2,000 years old.
Right.
It was actually more of a familial, traditional line, which was kind of cool.
Yes, it was cool.
And the line at the end of, oh, apparently it doesn't say anything about Santa Claus having to be a man. We've just been blindly following the rules for 2,000 years. I thought was pretty funny because I think it holds true to how a lot of people run their lives.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I didn't know I was an idiot. It's just the way we've done it for 20 years.
Exactly. Which is, I mean, everybody's guilty of it, like you say, just people in general.
I just thought it was a really funny line.
Yes.
It was funny, but a whole lot more applicable when you actually think about what he said.
Right. I watched this in 2 chunks again. In my defense, I did right before this one night watch the next movie we're gonna do, Fast 5, and so I watched that whole thing and then went into this. So I was just too tired. It wasn't keeping me.
It's like when you do like the polar plunge of you get shocked. This is what would have been my experience. If you go with something from Fast and Furious 5 to a movie like Noelle, it's like water and oil of how they mix together.
Yes, it was terrible. So I just was too tired. I was like not into this at all. So I had to watch the first half hour, and I'm like, I'm done. Not that this wasn't. I was pleasantly surprised though. Yeah. I mean, this was the different take. I kind of enjoyed that. It was, it had its quirks, bad acting and the quirks and all that, just like a Hallmark film does.
It does.
I mean, Shirley MacLaine I thought was terrible. I thought Michael Gross was terrible.
Yeah.
Bill Hader was Bill Hader. He's not great, but he's not bad.
He's such an awkward man that I inspire my life to be around. If I could be as awkward and as funny as these people, it's great.
And then Anna Kendrick, I mean, she's same thing, I mean, never going to be A-listers, and that's okay.
Yeah.
They know.
I think Anna Kendrick in the musical world could be considered an A-lister.
Sure.
But not in, like, probably your modern... Not your modern, your typical...
Not an A-lister in overall Hollywood film.
Yeah. So, it was interesting. They had, the technology of, like, we're just analyzing children, and we decided there's only 2,283 good children in the world.
Right.
And it's just funny of, like...
Which is kind of accurate.
It probably is, yeah.
I mean, really.
Yeah. And then sending emails to everyone, sorry, you didn't qualify for the nicest this year. Try to do better.
Right.
And you can reapply next year.
It made me think of a saying, and I'm not going to get it exactly right, but there's a saying that goes something like, be efficient with projects, but not efficient with people.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Right.
It's a little different than that, but the same concept for sure. But that is like you have a project, figure it out, be efficient with it, but people, you have to take in all the different nuances of their personality and their feelings and all that.
Feelings.
Right, I know, exactly. ugly.
Don't get me
ugly
started.
Feelings. But and so that kind of reminded me of that. It's like, okay, yeah, that's really efficient.
Yeah.
But we're dealing with people.
There's my newts. We mess up sometimes, but do they redeem?
Right.
The reindeer were kind of fun.
Yeah.
They were quirky.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Bad acting.
You go.
Well, here's the thing: this is not your typical Hallmark bad acting.
Right.
Tropes of people overacting, which then goes into bad acting. It was more of like they just sometimes didn't get work well, in my opinion, together.
Yeah.
And so again, the way we're critiquing it, bad acting being the higher you are, not physically, but like the higher.
I'm not high.
The higher the
I've
rating.
never been high.
So if it's a 4.5, that means they had terrible acting.
Yep.
So I'm actually giving it a 2.5. I thought they worked well together for the most part. It wasn't great, but it wasn't your typical bad in these type of films.
Yeah. What was it again?
2.5. I just put it in the middle.
A 2.5. So right smack in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying that you think that this was a pretty decent overall acting, like.
Yeah, I'm saying could have been worse, could have been better.
Sure.
It could have been a lot worse, could have been a lot better.
Sure. What I would like to say is I think that independently some of it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But as a whole, I'm going to give it it's a 3.8.
Okay.
As a whole film, it just wasn't, it was just the quirky bad acting. They just didn't try bad acting.
No.
Right? It wasn't like you say the over the top, I'm going to try to be this or that or more emotional, whatever, and then you just keep going and mess it up. But yeah.
They had a lot of weird things that were brought in. Like they had the choir that would randomly come in. Bill Hader was MIA for a good chunk of time.
Yep.
It was weird. I liked the beginning, the whole setup for it.
Yeah.
I thought that was really unique of oh, Santa's coming. Oh, wait, he's really Santa.
Right. Yeah.
Which I thought was just a different take of typically, oh, Dad, so I was just pretending to be Santa. Nope, he's actually Saint Nick.
Yep. No, that was fun.
Yeah. I like Snowball, the weird
that?
little reindeer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that animated
Those
mess.
reindeer would have had a hard time with all those sweets and sugars that they ate in Arizona. And out of all the places in the world to go to Arizona. That was kind of weird.
What's next?
What is it? Cheesiness.
Yep.
Cheesiness is the next step. So when I think of a Hallmark film, I think of cheesiness. So bad puns, bad transitions, lighting looks not great. Again, this doesn't really classify into a lot of those typical tropes of weird lighting. It was done by Disney, so it was more well done, and it wasn't designed to be a Hallmark film.
Right.
And then also there was definitely puns, especially Noelle with let's bring Christmas joy. And so alongside that brings into weird joke that are kind of funny. But the surrounding world around her didn't live in that environment. And so cheesiness, I gave it a 3.0.
Okay.
It really wasn't too cheesy. I mean, it definitely had some of those Christmas tropes of let's make these jokes. But overall, it wasn't over the top.
Yeah. I'm actually also 3.0 on it.
Okay.
I thought that I was expecting it to be a different type of a film.
Yeah.
And some of the cheesiness would be worse.
Yeah.
It kind of made sense.
Yeah.
Where the cheesiness to me is there's a whole bunch of stuff that they slap together, and it just a lot of it doesn't make sense.
Somebody the trope
or that you couldn't
lines.
make sense of it even. It maybe is a better way to put it.
Yeah.
But this you could. I mean, it did. It was written better.
Yeah.
Some of those things, it was put together better. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Also, is at 3.0 for cheesiness on it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Then it's overall entertainment, which is simply were you entertained or were you not?
Yes.
And I was. This film was fun. I don't think it's going to be it's not on my yearly Christmas watch. That's reserved for Elf, Santa Claus, and those are the two major ones I make sure I watch every year. This one will probably be in a rotation of 3 or 4 would be my guess.
Okay.
I'll watch it sometimes, but I'll replace it with different Christmas films that I enjoy. So with that, I gave it a 3.7 for Christmas.
Sure.
And everything else like that. It's enjoyable. It's fun.
So 3.7. Where would Elf fall?
Elf would be like a 4.6.
Okay.
I really enjoy Elf.
Yeah.
Santa Claus is Santa Claus is Santa Claus is pure nostalgia in the sense of I remember watching that film every year when I grew up.
Sure.
And so that's what I think about when Christmas comes. So that's 4.8, 4.9.
Yeah,
Can't get
like Tim Allen.
Yeah.
The Santa Claus.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple called the Santa Claus.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Out there, right?
There's a TV show now that Disney
maybe
did,
I'm
that I didn't
thinking,
watch.
I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Fred Claus.
So this isn't gonna ever be on my list.
That's fair.
While I did enjoy the different pieces that they did with this than the typical, Saint Nick, Santa Claus, all that stuff, I did enjoy that.
Yeah.
However, it just wasn't good enough for me to add to like the list. This is definitely one, if it's on in the background, I'm going to find something else to probably do with the company that might be watching it, if I can.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll make sure I find a really comfortable... The
Christmas lights you get put up, or...
Right. It's 40 below, and this is on, and I need to climb a 30-foot ladder for Christmas lights. Get the ladder.
It is. Yeah, that's right.
It's just not anything that I guess I really connected with.
Yeah.
But I did like a lot of the different pieces in it. So I'm just going to stop dancing. It is
Dancing and Prancing?
Not even in the 3s.
Oh.
It is a 2.8.
Okay.
For overall entertainment. It just wasn't entertaining enough.
When Christmas comes around, do you have Christmas films that you like watching? Or is it kind of just, for film-wise, you'll just watch whatever you want to watch?
So like Dr. No and like From Russia with Love and Goldfinger and...
Die Hard.
Golden Eye.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's fair.
Die Another Day.
Your classic Christmas
No Time
films.
to Die.
You're British.
You're right. No, I mean, I guess it's one of those things. I stay plenty busy, as probably everybody really knows, and I don't necessarily say I have to watch this.
Yeah.
I do enjoy Elf a lot.
Yeah.
I don't mind watching the Santa Claus, but I don't really. I mean, Elf I like because you can just laugh, and it doesn't matter.
It's just enjoyable,
right? So I would say no. There's not really anything specific that I have to watch. Every year. So
that's fair.
Yeah,
I was just curious.
Yeah. How about you guys? What do you watch for Christmas?
What are your Christmas tradition?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, that's. I got nothing else.
Oh, all right. I thought you were going.
No.
Well, tell us what you think. Send us a comment. Hammer the like button.
Send us an email at LegitQ at Maddie's Movie. Maddie, send us an email at maddysmoviemix.com.
And that is all he has.